What is up everybody, Tech Check here with a review of the Blue Yeti Limited Black Edition. Firstly, let's look at the design and how durable the Blue Yeti really is. Blue as a company are actually quite well known about putting premium materials in even their cheapest of microphones. So the version I have here is a limited edition, which is only available if you buy this microphone through Amazon. My first impressions when I unboxed the Blue Yeti were that pretty much all of the components externally were built out of metal. Then I went to check the buttons and they were made out of plastic. The buttons were pretty much the opposite of the body of this premium microphone, unresponsive, not tactile, and flimsy. This is definitely one thing that Blue should improve on and keep in mind for any microphone they release. And finally, on the bottom of the microphone, there is a standard micro USB port, a standard threaded mic mount, and a 3.5mm headphone jack on the bottom of this microphone. On the bottom of the microphone stand, there are rubber non-slip feet to prevent the Blue Yeti from sliding off your desk. Before we get on with the review, let me show you how easily you can set this microphone up. So the first thing you want to do is to turn each of the screws on the side clockwise to tighten and secure the microphone at the desired position. Then what I would recommend you do is to plug in the micro USB into the USB port on the bottom of the Blue Yeti. After that, take the other end of the cable, the USB end, and plug it in a free USB port on your computer. Although there are only instructions on how to set this microphone up with Windows Vista and XP, you should have no problem running this microphone on a newer version. I personally configured my Blue Yeti to work with Windows 8 and Mac OS X. There are also separate instructions detailing the process of how to set this microphone up correctly on a Mac OS X. Continuing with the review, on the front of the microphone there is a mute button. If the mute button is flashing, then no audio will be recorded. On the other hand, if the mute button sustains the red color, then a signal will be allowed to pass through for your computer to record some audio. Right below the mute button there is a volume wheel which controls the volume of the headphone output. Turning around the microphone and looking at the back, there is a gain wheel which controls how much you want to amplify audio when recording. Below that we have the polar pattern select button, which brings us on to our next point, the different polar patterns that this microphone supports and me giving you advice on which one is best for you. So for demonstrational purposes and to give you the best comparison between each polar pattern, every time I say a sentence, the microphone will be repositioned 90 degrees left to make this somewhat of a fair test. The first polar pattern that we see is depicted with a symbol like the one shown in the video. This polar pattern is called stereo. Stereo is great for recording vocals, ensemble, choirs, and multiple instruments as it detects sound 360 degrees around the microphone. The next pattern that the Blue Yeti has is called omnidirectional, which again makes the microphone detect sound from all directions. However, this type of recording pattern is tailored for conference calls, field recordings, and events and orchestras, as opposed to stereo, which is used to create more ambience and depth when listening to what you choose to record. On the right of the omnidirectional symbol, we have the cardioid symbol, which is the most commonly used mode and is useful in most situations. This mode especially excels the microphone's recording abilities in these fields: podcasts, voiceovers, vocals, and a single instrument. The cardioid pattern limits the Blue Yeti to only picking up sound in front of you, eliminating most background noises. Cardioid definitely delivers the richest sound out of the bunch, however does not offer a sense of depth like the rest of the recording modes. The final mode that the Blue Yeti supports is the bidirectional pattern, which has a symbol that resembles an 8. This pattern makes the microphone only pick up sound from the front and the back side, which means that this is great for when you're recording an interview, instruments, and ideal for vocal duets. I have a tip for you guys on the Blue Yeti. Whatever program you're using to record sound with should have a function where you are able to change the kilohertz of the microphone. Make sure you change it to 48 kilohertz because that is what the Blue Yeti records at, and it's how you'll be able to get the best quality from your microphone. If you would want me to do a particular follow-up video on something about the Blue Yeti that concerns you, then definitely make sure you leave it in the comments below. I will be checking every single comment. All of the audio in this video came from the Blue Yeti, so feel free to leave another comment on how you found the sound quality. Definitely subscribe and like this video for more videos like this. And last but not least, make sure you follow me on Twitter at TechCheck27 and Instagram. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.